The good old Trinity Force Ezreal build is back, along with a really interesting tank Zhao setup that many Korean pros have been abusing in solo queue. We'll be breaking down both these setups along with 8 other new Korean builds that you're going to want to spam to climb fast for 11.8. While we're on the topic of Korean builds, let us know down in the comments who's your favorite Korean pro of all time and why. We suspect Faker to be a pretty popular answer to this one, and for good reason, but there are many more insane pros that have dominated over the years, so we'd love to hear your thoughts below. To stay completely up to date with all our content, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get ahead of everyone else. And without further ado, let's get it. Ever since her buffs from a few patches back, many Korean high elo players like Khan and Naguri have started abusing Ignite and Teleport on their Akali top. The strategy has really started to rise in popularity as it was only run in about 30% of games pre-buff, but now has over a 70% play rate in Korea Diamond and above. Not only has Ignite surpassed the play rate of Flash, but players are winning 48% of the time with Ignite as opposed to 45% with Flash, so everything stat-wise just adds up really nicely. The buffs Akali received a while back were to her late game, while her early game was actually nerfed. By running Ignite, you put the enemy in a predicament where they won't want to fight you, which is exactly what you want. As long as you survive the first few levels with Akali, then her scaling power is so much better than before, and thanks to Ignite, you have that extra pressure to do so. Flash also isn't as necessary on Akali because the mobility and stealth allow her to maneuver out of sticky situations. The build for Akali top is Riftmaker into Demonic Embrace and then Zhonya's third. Take Fleet Footwork as the keystone combined with Resolve secondary for some much needed sustain early on. Domination secondary is very overrated on Akali now after the Ravenous Hunter nerfs, so whether you're playing Akali mid or top, look to swap over to Resolve. Second Wind and Overgrowth are the two best options. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by the top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from Iron to Diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Full tank Gragas top has really been flying under the radar the past while now and gets even stronger for 11.8. The build is a Sunfire Aegis rush into Frozen Heart second and Thornmail third. Spirit Visage can be swapped for Thornmail if you're in need of some magic resist. Frozen Heart has been buffed for 11.8 with the armor increased from 70 up to 80. Pre-buff Frozen Heart was already the highest win percent second item pickup on Gragas, so it's a must-buy now when up against an AD top who's auto-attack reliant. The Frozen Heart passive reduces enemies' attack speed by 15% and also cuts off the damage from incoming attacks by 0.5% of your max health. The build can work really well against picks like Jax, Fiora, and Aurelia. Even though you'll be lacking a bit of one-shot power compared to building AP, the damage tank Gragas can deal is nothing to scoff at, as base damage on his abilities are quite high. The rune setup for your tank Gragas that Korean pros are using is Grasp of the Undying with Demolish, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Inspiration is run for secondary, taking Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Zac is back in a really good spot for 11.8, so let's get you set up with the new Korean build that Yosik has been spamming. The majority of Zac players default to Sunfire Cape every game, but Yosik has been running a Frostfire Gauntlet rush. Frostfire is very underrated on Zac because it synergizes much better with his kit than Sunfire does. Zac scales extremely well with health because his passive, Q, W, and ultimate all have max health scaling. The mythic bonus on Frostfire Gauntlet provides you with 100 extra health per legendary item. This is much more useful for Zac than the 5% tenacity the Sunfire mythic passive provides. With Zac's W AP ratio buff this patch, Demonic Embrace is another item to watch out for to spice things up as a second or third item purchase. A Frostfire Gauntlet rush into Demonic Embrace second and Spirit Visage third will give you really insane carry power for 11.8. If you want to go the full tank route though, that's completely viable as well with a Thornmail second and a Spirit Visage third. Aftershock is the best keystone for Zac with Font of Life, Conditioning, and Revitalize. Take Inspiration secondary, running Freeboots and Cosmic Insight. The most popular build in Korean Masters and above for Zhao is surprisingly full tank. Just like Zac, the build consists of rushing Frostfire Gauntlet. We've seen the build pulled out in the pro scene over the past week, and well-respected jungle pros like Canyon have been using it in solo queue. The tank setup allows Zhao to play much more aggressively and play off of his stronger engage range with the buff W into E combo. The slow from Gauntlet provides great value for Shin, as his trading pattern always revolves around throwing in autos. You're definitely much more of a disruptor in fights than a huge damage threat, so in games where your team is lacking a frontline, this setup can work extremely well. The second item purchased for this tank build is a Randuin's Omen, which just adds to your sticking power and disruption thanks to the active slow. Round your core build out with a Thornmail third. The rune page for tank Shin is also different from that of fighter or assassin Shin. Instead of Hail of Blades, you'll be running Conqueror as the keystone. The ability for you to stick in fights and contribute to a sustained threat is much better when building tank, so going for the sustained damage rune choice is what pros are liking. Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace are the other primary runes, and grab Domination secondary with Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter. A new Nidalee build that turns her into a sniper consists of running Horizon Focus second. Horizon Focus is one of the more undervalued items in the game right now, as it is actually performing very well on lots of champions after its buffs from 11.3. The ability power was flat out increased from 100 up to 115, and the hypershot minimum range was reduced from 750 down to 700 units. On someone like Nidalee, who always looks to combo by landing a spear first and then jump in for the assassination, Horizon Focus works perfect. Upon landing a spear at over 700 units, the hypershot passive will activate, giving Nidalee 10% bonus damage on that target for the next 6 seconds. Horizon Focus not only gives Nidalee insane damage on that initial spear hit, but it makes her follow-up one-shot completely busted. It's like a pseudo Deathfire Grasp in a way if you're an OG and remember the item way back in the day. Your rush item on Nidalee will be Night Harvester, and then after Horizon Focus, go into a Zhonya's or a Lichbane third, depending on which you think fits best for the game. Take Dark Harvest as the keystone with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Relentless Hunter. Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm synergize really well as secondary runes. Diana is another champion that Koreans are secretly abusing Horizon Focus on. The bonus damage proc from the Hypershot passive not only applies on abilities that are cast over 700 range, but also on abilities that immobilize their target. When Diana dives in and activates ult, it will proc the Hypershot passive and allow her to rain down with a massive burst. In Diamond and above, players who purchase Horizon Focus second are winning 60% of the time, as opposed to 52% from Zhonya's and 58% from Lichbane. In games where you feel the extra defensive power from Zhonya's is needed, then delaying your Horizon Focus until third is a good strategy as well. Regardless, on Horizon Focus completion, your one-shot potential rises to a whole nother level and gives Diana the ability to punish positional errors in an instant. An example full build looks like a Night Harvester rush into Horizon Focus second and then Hourglass third. Electrocute will be the keystone with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Relentless Hunter. For secondary runes, take Shield Bash and Second Wind from the Resolve tree. We've all become pretty accustomed to Essence Reaver as a rush item on Ezreal, however, that's all starting to change after the Trinity Force buffs. The reduction of attack speed in exchange for more AD and haste is really great for Ezreal, since a large majority of his damage comes from abilities. Top tier pros like Deft and Uzi have been swapping over to the Trinity Force build, yet it's still very underrated. With only a 6% average play rate at the time of making this video, the majority of the player base have yet to catch on. Not only have pros been abusing the item, but stats help back up its legitimacy even further. Trinity Force wins 51% of the time as a rush item, as opposed to the 48% of Essence Reaver. Keep in mind, Essence Reaver was also just nerfed, so all these compounding effects have led to Trinity becoming the best mythic on Ezreal for 11.8. After rushing your Triforce, go into Manamune second and Cyrilda's Grudge third. The Cyrilda's buffs have made the item an even better third item purchase. The rune page is also shifted around for Ezreal as of recent. You still run the standard Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. However, Sorcery secondary has fallen in priority. Most pros are currently running Inspiration, taking Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Inspiration secondary even wins more than Sorcery in solo queue by a whole 2%. Once everyone swaps over to Trinity and begins to take Inspiration secondary, Ezreal may be in line for a nerf down the road, so abuse this new setup while you can. There's a lot of viable builds for Jinx at the moment, but one really starting to pick up traction in high elo and pro play consists of Phantom Dancer second. Hurricane and Fire Cannon are still the most popular second item purchases for solo queue. However, PD is not too far behind with a higher success rate than both. Once again, we have pros like Deft and Ghost taking full advantage of this new setup in solo queue. Like we've mentioned in previous videos, Phantom Dancer is way more efficient than Hurricane, especially if you're only hitting one target. Once the ramping attack speed kicks in from PD, the item is 132% efficient, which is just crazy value. Compare that to the 85% efficiency of Hurricane's base stats, and you see why PD's win rate is so much higher. So don't just resort to building Hurricane every single game on your Jinx. If you're against an enemy composition who has a lot of melee champs or a heavy frontline, then Hurricane is still a great pickup. Vice versa though, against a heavy assassin comp or no frontline at all, you'd be trolling to build Hurricane over PD. The full build is Kraken Slayer into Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge. For runes, take Lethal Tempo, Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Secondaries are from the Inspiration Tree with Free Boots and Biscuits. Domination Secondary has been performing much weaker on Jinx ever since the Ravenous Hunter nerfs. The changes to Shurelya's for 11.8 make the item much better on Enchanter supports, and someone like Lulu will reap great benefits. The new passive on Shurelya's provides your teammate with 25% movement speed over 1.5 seconds when you empower or protect them. This is huge for Lulu as it gives her even more peel strength and makes it a nightmare for dive champions to reach her carries. Let's not forget the active from Shurelya's also gives a huge 60% burst of move speed over 4 seconds, warranting Shurelya's the ultimate purchase if you're looking to keep your carries safe. Sure, the healing from Moonstone can add up throughout a fight and be really impactful, but if your ADC gets dove on and there's no way to escape, that bit of healing won't mean anything at all. Switch things around depending on what you believe will work best for each game. If the enemy champions don't have any hard engage and are more poke heavy or ranged, then Moonstone healing would be more valuable for you. Adapt and don't fall into the trap of autopiloting the same build. Most commonly, the Shurelya's will be followed up with an Ardent second and then Staff of Flowing Water third. Guardian is the most popular keystone amongst pros, followed with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Revitalize. Grab Biscuits and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. And our 10th and final Korean build of the patch is a hyper-aggressive one for Rakan, consisting of Zhonya's Hourglass second. Oftentimes when you look to dive the backline and play for those multi-man picks, your team will be lagging behind and leave you cut out to dry. If only there was a way for you to stall out so that your teammates could capitalize on pick plays, and that's where Zhonya's fits in perfectly. You can look for these insanely aggressive flash dive plays with Rakan and trigger your Zhonya's when you start taking focus to give your team time to follow up. Especially when you're against a heavy AD enemy comp or assassin champions, the Zhonya's purchase will provide you with even more value. Rakan is already super slippery as is, but the Zhonya's just takes it one step further. Start off your build by rushing Shurelya's and then transition into the Zhonya's second. Third item will be a Zeke's Convergence. For runes, take Guardian combined with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Domination is best for secondary, running Zombie Ward and Ultimate Hunter. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com, link in the description below. For more videos just like this one in the coming patches, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be the first to learn of all these new insane builds. Go grab the edge on your opponents by abusing these setups for 11.8, and we'll catch you back here soon. Take it easy.